UFC 291 just went down last night, and what a banger of a card this was. I think this was one of the cards of the year for sure. I'm going to start with the main event and then work my way back. Dustin the Diamond Poirier, Justin Gaethje, unbelievable fight. Both guys very worthy of fighting for the BMF belt. I had pointed out in my videos leading up to this that this was absolutely a 50-50 fight. I did pick Dustin Poirier, but I had said in my further breakdown videos that if Justin Gaethje was smart, he was tactical, he was patient, he was going to be able to win the fight. Now, I also mentioned that that's asking a lot of Gaethje because he's a guy that loves to just throw caution to the wind, control chaos, and a guy that just thrives in those moments. He was patient. He was tactical. He was on the back foot a lot. He was sticking and moving. I almost thought that it was going to be a repeat of the first fight because Poirier landed a good left hand, cut the eyebrow of Justin Gaethje, and I was like, oh, crap. Here we go. This is fight number one all over again. Gaethje started landing those good switch kicks to the outside leg of Poirier, and Poirier was having a hard time picking up on him. And then just a beautifully set up head kick. It wouldn't surprise me if Trevor Whitman had Gaethje drilling that because, they trained Kamaru Usman. Usman got knocked out in Utah basically a year to the date in the same arena that Gaethje was able to KO Poirier last night. And it was the same type of setup, that jab cross and that head kick right behind the right hand. Beautiful by Justin Gaethje. Hell of a performance. Both guys look good. Poirier was having some success, especially in that first round. But Gaethje was moving. His head movement was on point. You could tell Poirier was trying to set up maybe an uppercut or a knee because Gaethje kept dipping his head down a lot. And that's something that I think they were going to try and take advantage of. But shout out to Justin Gaethje, man. Incredible performance. Way to get the job done. Definitely probably performance of the night. And just an unbelievable KO. Moving on. Alex Pereira and Jan Blachowicz. This fight, this was the one that you all know I was buzzing about basically all month, ever since this was announced and this card was put together. I was wondering how this fight was going to go down. Jan was the number 3 ranked guy coming in. Pereira was ranked number 2 at middleweight. I thought that if this fight hit the floor, it was going to be a world of problems for Alex Pereira because he had not spent a lot of time there in an actual MMA fight. It's one thing to train on the ground and be good in the gym and things like that, but in an actual fight, especially against the number 3 ranked guy who is a former champ, he beat Adesanya, he's beaten several other guys, he just went toe-to-toe with Magomed Ankalaev. And you sit there and you watch Pereira in the first round. I thought the fight was over. I'm going to be honest. I thought it was over. It was about as worse of a first round as you could hope for if you were Pereira, other than obviously being submitted or finished. But he took the back right away. He ducked right under the first strike. And it tells you what he thinks of Pereira because Jan stood with Izzy for about 3 rounds before implementing any takedowns. And where he just kind of laid on Adesanya. And this one, he was trying to do kind of the same thing, was looking for that submission right away. Pereira defended very, very well against a rear naked choke. At one point, I thought it was in. He got it off. I mean, just, the training with Glover Teixeira is paying off. The guy's 36 years old. He's been in MMA for like 2 years. I mean, sensational performance, in my opinion, from Pereira. I know it wasn't super exciting. It was nothing flashy, but that was about as disastrous as it could have gotten for Pereira, other than obviously being submitted. I mean, he was in terrible position after terrible position, fought through it all, got on the feet, was landing good low kicks on Jan Blachowicz, tearing up that lead leg, which a lot of people thought, including myself, that maybe that wasn't going to be available because of Jan's ability to defend against leg kicks and check kicks and that extensive Muay Thai champ background that he has. And I'm really impressed with Pereira, man. I just thought if that style of fight happened, that it was absolutely going to go to Jan Blachowicz. And people were saying a robbery this, robbery that. That was not a robbery. The first round, absolutely Jan Blachowicz won. He dominated the first round. Pereira defended well, but you got to give it to Jan Blachowicz. Round number 2, Pereira landed the more significant shots. He was damaging Jan Blachowicz. He got that jab working. He was loading up a little bit on that left hook, and Jan was trying to time and duck underneath that and try and secure a takedown, which he did later in the 3rd round. That's how I got that takedown. But Pereira ate a couple shots, nothing seemed to bother him. He was throwing his hands out, which, he was feeling it a little bit. He was landing a good hard jab. The leg kicks were there. That non-telegraphed high kick that he throws with the lead leg landed really well on Jan. And then you could tell, man, Jan did not want to stand with this guy. There was definitely a respect there. Pereira's huge at 205. It's the perfect weight class for him. I think he's fighting for the belt next. I've heard rumors that Adesanya and Yuri could be going down in Sydney, because who's going to be fighting Adesanya at 185? They don't really like the Strickland matchup, so maybe that's next. But Alex Pereira is definitely next to fight for the belt. Impressed with his performance. Definitely thought he won rounds 2 and 3, because Jan, even though he got the takedown, didn't do anything with it, guys. This is not a wrestling match. This is fighting at the end of the day. You can't just lay on someone and control them, in my opinion. That's not doing anything. That's not fighting. That's wrestling. I respect wrestling a lot, and I like that sport. I love the sport. But, sometimes it gets a little too favored towards that, right? We're talking about damage. That's what we're looking at here. A fight is about damage accumulated, right? And Pereira landed the better shots. He had the more damaging shots. Blachowicz did not really land anything that damaging. If you're going to take someone down, it needs to be like what he did in the first round, chasing submissions, trying to end the fight, vicious ground and pound, something like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say it was not a robbery. I gave rounds 2 and 3 to Alex Pereira. To be honest, I'm not super surprised it was a split decision, but in that sense, I am. Because just because you get a takedown in the last 40 seconds and hold someone down and don't do anything with it, like, why does that secure a round? I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense to me. But moving on. Derrick Lewis and Marcos Rogerio de Lima. Derrick Lewis, his balls were hot last night. He was feeling it. You could tell he was in some of the best shape he's ever been in inside the octagon. He had abs. I mean, it was bizarre seeing Derrick Lewis in such good shape. He threw that flying knee. He pulled out his inner Masvidal. It was impressive, seeing him fly through the air like that. I had mentioned in my video that Derrick Lewis didn't have a ton of tools. He was very predictable. It was a big right hand, flying switch knee, and then that was kind of it. And then now, add a flying knee to the arsenal, man. And he said that wasn't something that they planned on doing, running across and doing that. He's a free agent now, so I imagine the UFC will bring him back. Dana White has said numerous times he loves Derrick Lewis, so I imagine they get something done. I just don't know what would, if he does resign with the UFC, what would happen next? Because Derrick is toward the end of the road. He's in his upper 30s. He's fought Silgan. He's fought Tai Tuivasa. He's fought Sergey Pavlovich. He's been on the wrong side of a few of those. He's fought Alexander Volkov. So, I know John Jones, Stipe, Tom Aspinall. I know there's some names out there like that he hasn't fought, but really, what's the goal for Derrick Lewis here? Is it to be a fan-friendly guy, give him some of these winnable matchups with the up-and-comer heavyweights, and then he can knock them off and just be exciting and sell out some venues in Houston? I don't know what the goal is there. But I love Derrick Lewis. I hope he stays. He's so much fun, man. I love watching him fight. And that was definitely a shocking performance. No one expected him to do that. I did think he was going to win the fight, but definitely not in that fashion. So shout out to Derrick Lewis. And then the post-fight celly was one of the best of all time. I loved it. My balls was hot part 2. I loved it. I thought that was hilarious. I like how he got on top of the cage. Joe Rogan was laughing his ass off, rightfully so. I mean, it was hilarious. So, but yeah, moving on. Tony Ferguson, I think that it's definitely time. I hate to do that and say things like that, but I think it's definitely time for Tony to hang it up, man. He's 0-6 in his last 6 fights, and he's 12-0 prior. And, fighting Bobby Green. Bobby Green's a slick striker, but Bobby Green's not the top of the heap. Tony Ferguson was fighting at the top of the heap for a long time there. He's losing to some of the top guys where you're like, okay. And then he just got pieced up by Bobby Green. He landed some good power shots early in the fight, but you could just tell watching Tony, he's lost a little bit of that step. The speed isn't quite there. Some of the movement is still awkward, but it's just not as fast as it used to be. The reaction time has slowed down. He's not landing those elbows and getting in tight and being kind of that nasty Tony Ferguson on the inside. So, never want to tell a guy to hang it up because, he's put in a long, hard career, but it's just, it was hard to watch. I like Tony Ferguson a lot. I did pick him to win the fight. I thought that, if we could see the Tony that we saw against Michael Chandler in the first round, that we were going to be able to see Tony get the job done. But Bobby Green looked slick. He looked fast. I hope that's not the last of Bobby Green that we see. He looked great. It sounds like we'll be seeing him fight again because in the post-fight he said, my reaction time's still there, the speed's still there. So I think we'll be seeing Bobby Green again for sure. Kevin Holland, I got to say, I know that there were some great finishes. There were some great performances. This had to be one of my favorite performances of the night because Kevin Holland came out of the gate in a very noticeably low stance. He was very low. He was very prepared for the takedowns. As I predicted, I mentioned this in my videos, he was absolutely going to be able to defend the takedowns of Michael Chiesa. Kevin Holland is a good grappler. He has good takedown defense. The problem was he was at 185, where he's a guy that just like walks around at 185. You know, he takes a poop and wakes up and he's 185. These other guys are 200 and some pound dudes cutting way down to make 185. And they have a significant strength advantage in the grappling. They were able to just out-muscle him, take him down, and hold him down. At 170, these guys can't do that to Kevin Holland. I want to see him stay at 170. I know he said he wanted to fight at 185 or whatever. I don't want that. I want to see Holland at 170. I think he can make a run, and I think that he could work his way up to a title shot, man. He looks great. He, in that low stance, he's very athletic. He's awkward. He's long. He hits like a truck. That right hand is a snipe, it's a piston, and he hits hard. He's fast. He's very athletic. He's a fun personality. I like Kevin Holland a lot. I thought it was a great performance by Holland and finishing Michael Chiesa with a darce. I loved it. I thought that was a shocking performance and one of the performances of the night, in my opinion. I hope he got $50K for that. I really liked what I saw from Kevin Holland. And then on the prelims, there were some things that stood out to me. CJ Vergara got the decision win. I thought that was a close fight. Salvador was showboating too much, and then he's throwing his hands up like, I didn't win. What the hell? When you're showboating and the fight's close and you're bobbing and weaving and it looked like a sparring exchange out there, right? No one was really putting their foot on the gas. It was kind of tick for tat. You go, I go. That's not what the judges and people want to see out there. Shout out to both guys for getting in there and duking it out, but it was just too relaxed in there. There was no one that was really separating themselves from the other. So I see how Vergara landed some of the cleaner shots, some more significant damaging shots. So I see how Vergara got the job done there. It's one of those things, man. It was close. It was close when you leave it to the judges and nobody's really kind of outshining the other. That's what happens. And I'm not going to break down every fight, but I do want to give out some shout outs here. Miranda Maverick, I had the opportunity to watch her back on Shogun fights a long time ago. But before she got to the UFC, well done by Miranda Maverick. Got the fight to the floor. Her striking looked pretty good. Was able to take Priscilla down. I said if this fight was on the feet the whole time, that Miranda would be in some danger. She got the job done. Got it to the ground. Her grappling looked good. Got the submission victory. Shout out to Miranda Maverick. Really, really well done. Good performance. Glad she got the W. And then another fight that I want to, Medic, you know who I'm talking about. He got a tremendous win there. He was able to get the job done. Shout out to him as well. Great performance by him. And then the Russian, Uroslav or whatever, the guy that threw the head kick. I'm drawing a blank here. Brutal head kick, man. One of the knockouts of the night, one of the performances of the night in my book. Beautiful head kick, beautifully set up, beautifully timed. It sounded like a shotgun, man, when it landed. You just heard that. It was beautiful, beautifully set up. Overall, this was one of the best cards of the year, in my opinion, from top to bottom. I know there were some unfortunate things leading up, like the Wonderboy fight getting canceled. A lot of people were looking forward to that, but overall, great card. I'll do some later videos on what I think is going to happen next. I saw Conor McGregor, taking some shots, called out Justin Gaethje. It's hard to throw McGregor right into the BMF thing because he has lost his past couple fights, but it is Conor McGregor, so will we see that next? I don't know. He said F the Chandler fight. Basically, I want to fight Gaethje, so I don't know. What do you all think happens next? What did you all think of this fight card? I thought from top to bottom, one of the cards of the year. It delivered. I was very impressed with several different fighters. The way that the fights played out, it wasn't necessarily favorable for some guys. Like I said, Alex Pereira getting the job done. It wasn't a super exciting fight, but he got the job done, man. And I'm very impressed there. I was impressed with Kevin Holland's performance. He looked outstanding. He looked great. Gaethje's head kick setup was tremendous. He was patient. You heard Trevor Whitman after the first round tell Justin, you know, that's smart, that's technical, that's tactical. Great job. He was absolutely dialed in. To be honest, I don't want to see Poirier and Gaethje fight again because I like both guys. I think they both like each other. I think that ultimately they're going to be friends after fighting. I just don't really want to see it. I don't, because in a selfish manner. Would it be a great fight? Of course it would be a great fight, but both guys really like each other. I hate seeing them fight each other because I'm a fan of both guys. I love both of them. I said it's a love-hate relationship when Gaethje and Poirier fight because it's toxic. I don't want either guy to lose, you know, and I feel like whoever I pick, the other guy wins. So whoever I pick in that matchup, just pick the other one. So I've gotten it wrong twice, I think. I don't remember who I picked for the first one, but I definitely picked Poirier this time around. So shout out to Gaethje. I said if he was patient, he was going to be able to get the job done. But what did you all think? I thought this was one of the cards of the year. Drop your comments below. I love reading those and going back and forth with you all. Like, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you all, and I will see you in the next one.